Welcome back to the deep dive. We're here to, cut through the noise and get straight to the insights that matter.
Mm.
And if you've ever had that feeling, that little voice saying, my English isn't quite good enough, or maybe you freeze up sometimes, in conversations, or maybe you wish you could just get your thoughts out more clearly, like in an interview, or even just with friends. Well, then today's deep dive is absolutely for you.
Yeah, definitely. We're taking a really focused look today at something called Fluent in 30 Days, a simple communication challenge for busy learners.
Hmm.
And what's really compelling about this, I think, is how practical it is. It's really designed for anyone who's got a packed schedule, but still has that, burning desire to speak English more confidently, more fluently. So whether you're a student, maybe a working professional, or honestly just someone wanting to communicate better day to day, this deep dive, our goal is to sort of unpack this challenge, show how these simple, consistent daily habits can actually make a huge difference to your communication skills.
That's exactly right. Our mission today is basically to walk through the steps this 30-day challenge lays out. It's a pretty systematic path designed to kind of chip away at those language barriers and show you how manageable efforts can lead to some really significant breakthroughs. So let's dive right into week one. The guide calls this the warm-up and confidence building phase, really laying the groundwork.
hmm Week one is fundamentally about getting rid of that fear of speaking. The main idea here is building comfort with English and, crucially, focusing on fluency over perfection. It's about giving yourself permission to just start, instead of getting bogged down trying to be flawless right out of the gate. And what's interesting is how that mental shift actually frees up your brain a bit. You're focusing on communicating, not obsessing over grammar rules.
Right, that fluency versus perfection thing. That's a massive hurdle for so many people, isn't it? So, okay, the daily dose for week one, it suggests just 15 minutes watching clear, structured English content, like educational videos, Simply Learn, Crash Course, Kurz Gesagt, those kinds of channels. But it's not just passive watching, is it? It's more about observing how things are explained, how simple sentences actually sound. The guide mentions internalizing natural phrasing. What exactly does that entail?
Yeah, internalizing natural phrasing, it basically means your brain starts to automatically recognize and even produce common word combinations and sense of patterns without you having to consciously think about it or translate word for word from your native language. You start to kind of intuitively grasp how native speakers connect ideas. It's like your subconscious picks up the music of the language, the rhythm, which moves you from just knowing about the language to actually knowing it intuitively. That's a big step towards real fluency. And it also helps you absorb that natural rhythm, sentence structures without having to actively study grammar books.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And the main activity for this week really builds on that. Talk to yourself.
hmm
You pick a topic each day, could be simple, like what I did today or my goals this week, and you just speak out loud for 2 minutes. And the material really stresses this. Mistakes are totally okay. The focus is just on getting the words out, on fluency.
Exactly. And it's not just about confidence, so that's part of it. It's actually a really powerful, low-stakes way to apply what language experts call the output hypothesis. The idea being that actually producing language, even just talking to yourself, forces your brain to pull out words and structures. It solidifies what you already know, and maybe more importantly, it really highlights the gaps, what you don't know yet. It's like active practice, making your brain work through the language. That really speeds things up. And for a bit of tech help, the app tip for week one suggests tools like ELS Say Speak, Cake, or Youglish. They can give you pretty instant feedback on pronunciation and flow.
Okay, so week one is about comfort, getting started, talking to yourself. Once you've built that initial bit of comfort, what's next? The guide seems to shift gears quite deliberately for week two.
It does, yeah. Moving into week two, the goal shifts. It's more strategic now. It's about upgrading your vocabulary and improving your sentence structure now that you're actually speaking a bit more,
Hmm.
which brings up a common question for learners, right? How do you actually learn new words effectively without feeling totally overwhelmed?
Right, you don't need to swallow a dictionary.
Yeah.
And the daily dose for week two reflects that. It's super practical. Learn just 5 new words a day. But not just any words you can actually use. Things relevant to daily life or work. The examples given are like update, feedback, schedule, deadline, recommend. It's about immediate usefulness, not just collecting words.
That practical focus is so important, especially when you're busy. And the main activity for week 2, explain like I'm 5, really pushes this. You take a topic, well, maybe how Wi-Fi works or even just my morning routine, and you explain it in the simplest possible English. And this exercise, it sounds simple, maybe even a bit silly, but it's surprisingly effective. It doesn't just test your vocabulary, it forces you to think clearly and speak concisely. You have to break down ideas.
And then there's pair practice. This seems like a key step towards real conversation. The guide suggests speaking with a friend or family member in English for just 5 or 10 minutes a day. But the key rule is stick to English the whole time. No translating, no giving up out of fear. It's about creating that safe space for real-time practice.
Exactly. That consistency, even for short bursts, is vital.
Yeah.
Then we hit week 3, and this is often where things get, let's say, interesting for learners. Week 3 focuses directly on real-time fluency. Thinking and responding in English quickly, that pressure to think on your feet, speak instantly, it can be really intimidating. So how does the guide suggest tackling that?
Well, it introduces a technique called shadowing for the daily dose. Only takes about 10 minutes. Basically, you listen to someone speaking, maybe from YouTube, a podcast, a TED Talk, and you repeat what they're saying at the same time. It sounds almost too simple, but it's supposed to be incredibly effective, right?
Oh, it really is. Shadowing directly tackles that speed of thought issue in a new language. What's fascinating is how it kind of forces your brain to skip the translation step. You're not really thinking about the words individually, you're absorbing the rhythm, the intonation, even grammar patterns, almost subconsciously. It's like building muscle memory for your mouth and ears at the same time. And that directly helps you speed up your thinking for actual conversations. Then for the main activity in week 3, the recommendation is to join speaking spaces. So finding online communities where people actually talk in English, could be Discord servers, Clubhouse rooms, maybe WhatsApp groups for language learners.
Right. And the advice here is pretty gentle. Start just by listening. Get a feel for it. Then, when you feel ready, just introduce yourself. The guide really emphasizes that even saying one sentence is a huge win. It's about dipping your toe into that real-time interaction, getting comfortable in a live setting, slowly reducing that fear of being judged. And there's a challenge this week, too, the 3-minute talk. Pick a random topic like the last book I read, or why I prefer working in the evening, and just talk about it for 3 minutes straight. And recording yourself is recommended, which is always a bit cringeworthy at first, maybe, but it's such a fantastic way to actually see your progress.
Absolutely, that self-assessment is powerful. Okay, so that brings us to week 4. This is the final stretch. Here, the focus shifts again. It's about polishing, performing, presenting, really building that confidence, feeling like a seasoned speaker. You've done the warm-up, you've got some tools, you've even practiced in real time. Now, week 4 is about owning it, stepping into that role.
Yeah, moving from just practice to actually performing, in a sense. The daily dose for week 4 is about speaking with emotion and voice control. For 15 minutes, you pick a topic you actually care about, something you love, and talk about it with passion, like you're telling a story to your best friend. Why is bringing in emotion so important at this stage?
Well, at this point, it's not just about if you can say the words, it's about how you say them, how effectively you convey your message, how you engage people. Emotion, voice control, they add meaning, they make you sound more natural, more interesting, they help you command attention. It's about putting your personality into your English, moving from just being correct to being, captivating. And to make that more concrete, the next step is mock presentations. Give a short presentation, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, to a mirror, a friend, even just your phone camera. Explain a topic clearly, confidently. It helps you practice structuring your thoughts under a little bit of pressure and refining your delivery.
And then the big finish, the final task, the 5-minute speech. You choose a significant topic, something like how technology changed my life, or why communication is a superpower. You write it, practice it, and record it. And the real payoff here, the guide says, is comparing this recording to how you sounded back on day 1. You should feel really proud, maybe even unstoppable, seeing the progress.
It's a great way to cap it off. Now, before we wrap up, the guide offers some really key final tips that kind of underpin the whole 30 days. First, and maybe the most freeing one, embrace mistakes. Seriously, they're not failures. They are a completely natural, actually essential part of learning any skill, especially language. The goal isn't grammatical perfection. It's natural, effective conversation. Every mistake is it's data, really. Your brain uses it to learn and adjust.
That's such a critical mindset shift, isn't it? Just get the message across. Don't obsess over every little error. Another great tip, start thinking in English. Even small things. Begin with simple phrases in your head like, I'm tired, or what time is it? Instead of thinking it in your language and then translating. Gradually build up from there. It trains your brain to process directly in English, which avoids that translation delay that often trips people up.
Mm-hmm. And of course, we live in an amazing age for this. Leverage technology. Use the tools available. The guide suggests things like recording voice notes on your phone, using AI tools like ChatGPT for conversation practice, which can be surprisingly helpful, listening to audiobooks, even talking to chatbots. These offer really accessible, varied, and importantly, non-judgmental ways to practice speaking and listening.
Right. So what's the big takeaway here for you, the listener? It really hammers home this idea that every small, consistent step you take day after day, it adds up. It compounds into a really significant transformation. It's all about the cumulative effect of those manageable daily actions.
Yeah, this 30-day challenge, as it's laid out, it feels very doable. It's practical. It's really designed for real life, not some theoretical ideal. It's about turning that desire into actual ability.
Absolutely. The core message seems crystal clear. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to start, and then you need to stay consistent. It's about building that momentum one day, one deliberate practice section at a time. So maybe after listening to this deep dive today, the question for you is, what's one tiny, consistent habit from this challenge, just one thing, that you could start today to really ignite your own communication journey? Think about it, and then go for it.